Welcome back to another day of our 100-day challenge. What is it? Day 12. We have a special guest today. I'm very delighted and honored to have my friend Nate White here with me. We'll be including the links to his personal training business and to the charity he helps run to give furniture to new students, new people in the area from out of country. So a lot of immigrant students or families that don't have furniture, he helps connect furniture with them through our church. So today we are going to walk him through our daily dozen and let him experience, as someone very experienced in the movement field, how our prehab, rehab, and longevity system gets our bodies ready before the day. And specifically today for us, before we go rock climbing. So we're going to warm up our bodies using this set as an application for going and playing a sport or doing an activity. And he's a very quick learner, a very good athlete, so he will learn very well. Swinging our arms here, waking up the hips, the spine, the shoulder blades, and continuing to train to loosen the arms. Leaving the head to follow the body sometimes and stay forward sometimes. Here, we practice using the body to swing the arm up and over, opening the elbow and the armpit. Feet are together on this one. This was a new motion for Nate. He has a very strong upper body, which muscle building the upper body can also create a lot of tension, but he very quickly learns how to let his limb go and percuss under his spine. Now, when we do this, we don't want to overarch the low back. We want to keep the stretch in the armpit and the chest and the upper back, and not arch our low back, stick our butt out in order for the arm to reach over. So to continue with percussion, we go to our body pads. He was intrigued by percussive techniques as a warm-up. That's not part of other movement systems. And he appreciated the unique feeling of it and response of his own body. We move to percussing the chest. Even as we're doing this, we're starting to let the tail sink. Always when we're standing, but the tail is sinking. The breath can fill the waist a little more. Feel the low belly. Percussing around the lymph nodes, the chest, armpit, collarbone. Nate initially had kind of a stiff hand. We were talking about the sort of soft, cupped shape of the hand. We don't want a rigid tool we're percussing with. It's just real casual. Like the hand you'd pet a dog or a cat with, your hand's sort of soft. It's similar. As we loosen these areas around the waist, it will help our waist breathing, our belt breathing, turtle breathing, all the same idea. It's called turtle breathing as we take this tight arch out of the back. Breathing in sort of expands our low back and puffs it out like a turtle shell. Now we're going to shake the body. He thought this was really cool. And I have to agree with him. I think he talked about how he's so knowledgeable on body mechanics. He instantly got how we're not just treating parts of the body, we're treating the whole body as a unit. So this vibration, this shake that goes through the whole body, note how his hands move versus my hands. Just to show, having done this longer, the vibration picks out where we're stiff. Usually my right hand is stiffer, so it won't kind of flop as much. But these vibrational sets send a ripple. They shake out the tablecloth, and you see where in the fabric is it loose and free and where is it sticky. And you don't have to work to change it, just notice it. Just noticing it, and over time you'll notice, oh, well, it's looser there. It used to be tighter there. So we kind of put that vibration through all the tissues, get them all sort of synced up, and then we're going to go into our reaching up, reaching down. Nate has great shoulder mobility. Taking our ribs to one side and the other. He has great mobility in general. Yeah, but even here, as we reach up, we don't want it to be an arch in the low back. You see how Nate is instinctively letting his low back arch a bit, which is totally natural. We're going to counter some of that tendency by sinking the tail, putting the work in the shoulders and upper back. Areas I clearly need to work on. And then we're going to try to step out diagonally without running into each other. I think we manage it. So here we are, stepping out in a diagonal, touching the body over that front leg. I've had some good comments and questions from students, participants in our challenge. We're starting to see things happen in their bodies, changes or challenges with certain exercises. In particular, I was having a conversation with a patient that noticed a big change in some areas of his body that had an emotional connection, like, this area felt freer, and also he had experienced some strong emotion around whatever, a certain topic in his life. It's so true, so often happens. If there's this cool idea that if we're always accumulating, going side to side here, not taking the elbows out the same direction as the hips while the head looks the opposite way. The stability, the consistency of this practice becomes a stable point around which our body and our mind and our psyche, all the changes in it will sort of show themselves. So what I mean by that is our activities every day can fluctuate so much. We do a lot of the same stuff, eating meals and whatever errands and looking at our phone, but a lot of those things are sort of checkout activities. Now the hips lead and the head follows, side to side. If we build a practice, the same is true of meditative or prayer practices that encourage awareness of the body or emotional state. We keep that practice the same. All the little temperamental vicissitudes of our organism are highlighted by contrast to that stable practice. All that is to say, you build a lot of awareness and and flexibility, and often unwinding of letting go of a lot of very old restrictions in your mind, body, heart, and soul. It sounds weird, but it's really true. And if I'll prove it to you, just do this thing for 100 days. Everyone has a different amount of stuff to work through or whatever else, but do a thing for 100 days, designed like this. Look how good Nate's spinal mobility is. Getting his ribs down by his leg, that's awesome. Do this for 100 days and just tell me. You tell me. Or prove me wrong. If you're a skeptic or if you're not, then just get ready. Here we are, hand on the ground now, reaching the body over. Now, Nate is a pretty peak athlete. I've done this stuff for a while. So I want to repeat often, we're not going for some standard that is different from our body's ability. Because if I was 70 or 80 or whatever, had a major injury, I'd look a little different doing these things. So wherever you are in your body, in your motion, look for the gains in your range. Don't compare to this young athletic guy, for example. It's not about ultimately how far we go in a certain movement, but how much we change over time. Circling the knees now. We can see a little better in this side view, the straightening sort of lockout at the top of the motion. Boom. Helps to seat the meniscus and the little ligaments in the knee, ACL, BCL. And we get to work on taking our hips low, pressing our heels, and butt muscles up high, shaking those legs out. A lot of you have been doing these outside, which I recommend if the weather permits. You certainly don't have to, but it is focusing of the mind and sort of, calming the emotions. If you have the sound of some birds, if you have a little light breeze, if you have trees and green things in your periphery, being near water is very good. A little creek or a pond. The natural sounds kind of help entrain our own natural rhythms. They basically soothe our nervous system. On that note, there is something to say for Phoenix Stretch, our last motion here today. For doing the exercise barefoot on the grass or spending a couple minutes barefoot. I'm trying to get a little write-up from a patient who is an electrical engineer who's been measuring the electrical current through his body in relation to some of our therapies. It is really fascinating. Short story for now. Put your feet on the earth, on the ground, a little bit every day if you can. It discharges excessive electrical activity in the body and makes smoother our own electromagnetic field and circulation. There's a lot about that that's not known totally clearly, but the short story is it's very good for you. So take a little walk outside or stand on concrete with no shoes. Get out of the rubber-soled foot prisons, insulated foot prisons. And I thank you for spending your Friday here with us. We got a great weekend of videos going. Get a friend, show them some movements. Have a great weekend. Oh, I would